Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you, and welcome to a special edition of Deen and Dharma. We are standing at the door of Ramadan, the Islamic month of fasting. And let's be honest, for many of us, the anxiety has already set in. The caffeine withdrawals, the long days, the thirst. We often treat Ramadan as an endurance sport, a physical challenge to just get through. But what if we reframed it? What if we looked at Ramadan not as a month of deprivation, but as a month of radical, heightened awareness? Today, I want to take you on a journey. We're going to explore the Islamic heart of Ramadan, a concept called Taqwa, which is God consciousness in Arabic, and we're going to view it through a lens that might surprise you, the lens of Buddhist mindfulness. How does the Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, advice on emotional control align with the Zen practice of the pause? How does the Quran's command to fast create the exact same mental clarity sought by monks in meditation halls? Grab your tea or your water while you still can, and let's explore the Deen and Dharma of the conscious fast. Let's start with the why. In the Quran, the central holy text of Islam, God gives us the exact reason for fasting. He doesn't say, so you can feel how the poor feel, though empathy is a beautiful byproduct. He doesn't say to lose weight. No, in chapter 2 of the Quran, Surat al-Baqarah, translated as the cow, verse 183, God says, decreed upon you is fasting, that you may obtain taqwa. Now, growing up, many Muslims are taught that taqwa translates simply to fear of God, but that translation feels incomplete. It misses the rich texture of the word. To understand it, we have to look at who the Quran says the muttaqeen, the people who possess taqwa, actually are. At the very beginning of the Quran's second chapter, it says, this book is a guidance for the muttaqeen, and it defines them immediately. They are those who believe in the unseen, establish prayer, and spend out of what they have been provided to help others. Notice the balance here. It's internal belief and external action, but it goes deeper. The Quran deconstructs the idea of religious autopilot. In Ayat al-Bir, which is the verse of piety, verse 177 of the cow, God says, righteousness isn't just physically turning your face to the east or the west to pray. True righteousness, true taqwa, God consciousness, is believing, but also giving wealth in spite of love for it to relatives, orphans, the needy, and being those who fulfill their promise when they promise, and those who are patient in poverty and hardship. The Quran is telling us the person of taqwa, God consciousness, isn't just the one praying quietly in the corner. It is the person who is socially conscious, financially generous, and emotionally resilient. There's a famous historical conversation that illustrates this perfectly. Omar, who was a close companion of the Prophet and the second Khalifa, asked another scholar, quote, what is taqwa? The scholar replied with a question. Have you ever walked a path filled with thorny bushes? Omar said, yes. The scholar asked, what did you do? Omar replied, I rolled up my robes and I was very cautious. The scholar said, that is taqwa. So think about that image. Walking through thorns, you're hyper aware of every single step. You are vigilant. You aren't on autopilot. Taqwa is God consciousness. It's the state of being fully awake to the reality of the divine in every moment, ensuring your spiritual robe doesn't catch on the thorns of heedlessness, greed, or anger. Now let's pivot to the Dharma, the Buddhist teachings. In Buddhism, there is a central concept called sati, which translates to mindfulness. In ancient Buddhist texts, the Buddha teaches the importance of being intensely aware of the body in the body and feelings in the feelings. It's the practice of guarding the sense doors. If you walk through life without mindfulness, you are purely reactive. Someone insults you, you automatically insult them back. You see a donut, you eat it. You are a slave to your impulses. Sound familiar? This is exactly the cycle that Ramadan interrupts. When you are fasting, you feel the sharp pang of hunger. On a normal Tuesday in October, you would have unconsciously grabbed a snack. But in Ramadan, that hunger hits a wall of intention. You stop. You observe the hunger, but you do not act on it. And that split second between feeling the hunger and making the conscious decision not to eat, you are practicing pure mindfulness. You are practicing taqwa. You are mindfully stepping over the thorn. We often think of mindfulness as something you only do sitting cross legged on a yoga mat. But let's look at the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He was a master of what modern psychologists call emotional regulation, or in Zen practice, it's called the pause. Let's take a look at two specific examples of this in action. One is the verbal circuit breaker. The Prophet taught, quote, fasting is a shield. So if someone tries to fight with you or abuse you, say to him, I am fasting, I am fasting. Inni sa'im. Notice he doesn't just say ignore them. He said to verbalize your state. Why? When you say I am fasting out loud, you are snapping yourself out of an emotional reaction. You are reminding yourself of your higher intention. It is a mindfulness bell that rings right in the middle of chaos. And the second example is mindful consumption. We live in an age of mindless overconsumption, yet the Prophet taught the 1/3 rule for eating. 1/3 of your stomach for food, 1/3 of it for water, and 1/3 left empty for air. In many Eastern Buddhist traditions, breath, which is prana or chi, is the vital link to the spirit. If you stuff yourself until you are completely full, there is no room for breath, no room for spirit. Muhammad was teaching us also to eat with awareness, not gluttony. This is a form of deep spiritual respect for the body. There is a beautiful intersection between Islam and Buddhism here regarding what is called the witness consciousness. In meditation, you learn to watch your thoughts without becoming them. You observe the anger, but you realize you're not the anger. In Islam, this practice is known as muraqabah, the spiritual state of watchfulness. It comes from the knowledge that God is ar-raqib, the watchful in Arabic. But here's a beautiful distinction. In secular mindfulness, you witness yourself. In muraqabah, you witness yourself being witnessed by the divine. It changes your internal conversation. Instead of just trying to quiet the mind, you are actively aligning the mind with God. You ask, does this thought please my creator? And this leads us to the most powerful psychological benefit of taqwa, God consciousness, the release of worldly fear. In Buddhism, suffering comes from attachment to outcomes, to wealth, to security. When you detach, you find peace. The Quran offers a similar promise, but it anchors it in the ultimate trust, the trust in God. When you have high taqwa, when you are entirely mindful of God, you stop being mindful of your earthly worries and anxieties. There's a profound promise in the Quran that is often called the verse of relief. It's chapter 65 of the Quran titled At-Talaq, which translates to the divorce in English. Verses 2 through 4, God says, and whoever has taqwa of Allah, He will make for him a way out and will provide for him from where he does not expect. He will make for him of his matter ease, end quote. This is the spiritual payoff. When you engage in the conscious fast, when you cultivate this intense, watchful awareness, you are trading your small, worldly worries for divine security. The person of taqwa doesn't panic about the future because they know the provider of the future. They've achieved a state of inner liberation that looks very much like stillness of the Zen master, but it's rooted in the absolute reliance on the Lord of the worlds. So, how do we bring this Deen and Dharma insight into our actual lives this Ramadan? I have 3 challenges for you this month. One is the sacred pause. Before you break your fast at sunset, take 10 seconds. Look at the date or the glass of water in your hand. Don't just shove it in your mouth. Acknowledge the incredible blessing of having food and thank God for it. Be completely present with that very first bite. And the second is say the prophetic mantra. When you feel anger or frustration during those hangry moments, repeat what the prophet said. Say, I am fasting and a sa'im. Use it to step back from the cliff of reaction. And the third is intention. In Buddhism, intention is everything. In Islam, actions are judged entirely by intention. Don't let your daily intention just be, I won't eat today. Let it be, I am fasting to wake up to God. I am fasting to polish the mirror of my heart to connect with God. Ramadan is a school, and it comes once a year to teach us that we are not just bodies that happen to have souls. We are souls that have bodies. We are capable of immense discipline, of sharp awareness, and of deep, profound peace. Before we officially part ways today, I don't want to just talk about the theory of the pause. I want us to practice it together right now. Wherever you are, unless you are driving, I invite you to get comfortable. Put down your phone, lower your gaze to the floor, or gently close your eyes. Let's take the next few minutes to practice muraqabah, the art of being watchful, and cultivate that state of taqwa, God consciousness. Start by simply noticing your physical body. Feel the weight of yourself in your chair or on the floor. You are anchored. You are safe. Now bring your attention to your breath. Don't try to change it or force it. Just observe it. The cool air entering, the warm air leaving. In this exact moment, you are not regretting the past. You are not anxiously planning for the future. You are simply here, breathing the air that Al-Muhi, the giver of life, has provided for you. As you breathe, gently shift your awareness to the center of your chest, your heart. In secular mindfulness, we observe our feelings. In muraqabah, we observe our heart while knowing it is being observed by God. Imagine the gentle, loving gaze of Ar-Raqib, the watchful God. He sees you sitting here. He knows the anxieties you carry about this coming month. He knows your fatigue and your hopes. Let the divine gaze wash over you. You don't have to perform right now. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. Now picture that path of thorns we talked about earlier. Think of the distractions, the anger, the scrolling, the impulsive habits that catch your ropes every single day. Take a deep breath in, and as you do, imagine yourself gently gathering your robes. You're pulling your attention inward, away from the thorns. Exhale and release the physical tension in your shoulders. Inhale, gathering your focus and intention. Exhale, releasing the worldly noise. You are awake. You are watchful. You are ready to walk through this month with care, with intention, and with the deep peace that comes from trusting your Creator. Let's take one final deep breath in together, filling the lungs entirely, and let it go with a gentle sigh. Hold on to that stillness. You can return to it at any point today, just by paying attention to a single breath. May your Ramadan be mindful, may your taqwa be sharp, and may your fast be accepted. Ramadan Mubarak and peace be upon you.